Hello and welcome to the first ever Chasing Greatness podcast with me, Liam Aspin, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Charlie Rees and Phil Milner. Charlie, I'm going to throw straight over to you. This is all your love child, really. This was your idea, and I know you've got big and interesting plans going forward.
Yeah, I think, it all started really like the last couple of weeks, I've just been thinking that these finals, these races, these dogs and greyhounds in general isn't being promoted enough. I'm not saying what we're going to do is going to completely change things, but if it gives people something to listen to, something to enjoy, there is plans for other things as well going forward. But I think for now, we're just going to take things one step at a time and hopefully bring some content that people enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I know you got in contact with me pretty quickly with the idea, and straight away I said, "Yeah, let's have a go." And that led me to Phil because me and Phil had spoken about it before, and said to you, "Let's get Phil involved." So here we are, Phil, us three together on a podcast. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? It's not going to get us in trouble or anything. No,
No, no, it'll be fine.
it's a great idea and it's needed. The stuff that we've had in the UK has been good, but as we know, some of it's come to a halt. And as you probably saw me have a little rant the other day, I'm a massive fan of the Irish version of Talking Dogs. It's my Monday night listen every week, and what they put together, I think, is really, really good. And when you guys messaged about being involved in this, I jumped at the chance because it's the stories behind the racing as such and promoting the whole sport that I think between us we can hopefully take forward, and people can see some of the bits that happens behind the scenes and some of the real stories that make it where it is. So yeah, excited to be involved.
Yeah, it'd be good. I know you love the Talking Dogs. You often say to me, we'll have a chat, and you'll say, "Did you not watch Talking Dogs?" I'll say, "No, I haven't seen it." It's essential listening, and I've not. But obviously, during the Irish Derby, we had obviously Harry proper arrested us. So I listened to all of them, and I've got to confess, I've not listened to any since. So that's my bad. But I know you love that, and
Start off
I
with
had the
honesty.
idea. Well, look, there's enough going on in English racing, good and bad. I'll stick to that instead of worrying about what's going on over the water. But
I just
yeah, I
think
know Talking Dogs
as a
is
model of what they do regards, they bring the sponsors into it. So it's normally Tommy Lyons and Ian Fortune who head it up. And Tommy's just, for me, seems a real good judge of a race. Ian Fortune knows the sport inside out. And then they tend to bring the sponsors in so they get that side. And it just incorporates the whole sport. They bring the personalities in. You get to know the trainers, the owners, and the breeding a little bit more. And it just brings it all together, I think, every week. So, yeah.
Yeah, and
great.
just
So
to
if
add
we
to
need
that
it,
as well, just quickly, I think going forward, in terms of what is planned, I think people, especially owners, trainers, if you have a good dog, essentially as well, if you're running in competitions and you have a dog to be proud of, I think you want that to be showcased as well. And I just think we've got these big races, we want to be promoting them, we want to be doing interviews with trainers. I'm hopefully going to be doing some kennel visits going forward as well, getting to know trainers, their stories, and just sort of pushing the sport forward as much as we can. I think is the main aim. So hopefully it all works out. There's going to be plenty of people that don't like it, especially if Liam's talking. But I think in general it'll all go well.
yeah, I was just going to say, so we've got. I don't think we've got an Ian Fortune or a Tommy Lyons covered on here, but we'll be all right. We're our own men. Do you know what I mean? You know what I
Something
mean?
like
Like,
that.
we're not 100% sure how this is going to work yet either, but we'll go with it. I think we're going on the topic category, a little bit like Nick Luck on Sunday for the horse racing fans
Mm-hmm.
among you listeners. So yeah, that'll be a little bit about what the podcast. We sort of plan to do them fortnightly, don't we? I think it's the plan. We're all in full time work. We're not. This is not paid. This is voluntary. This is nobody else's idea, bar us, bar us free. So we'll get in what we can when we can. Try and keep up to date, and we'll try and discuss the topics that's been in the news of greyhound racing, the competitions that are coming up, the good and the bad. The good and the bad. It's not all sunshine and roses in UK greyhound racing, unfortunately. So we'll cover it all as we go fortnightly. Sometimes we're recording on a Tuesday now. When this will come out, we're not quite sure yet. It'll be sod's law that there'll be a big bit of breaking news tomorrow on a Wednesday, and we discuss it in 14 days' time. So we're 14 days behind. But as as it is, that will just be one of those things. But without further ado, I think topic one on the first ever podcast is quite fitting with the recent announcement of the 2026 English Greyhound Derby, obviously under the new promoters, Mike Davis and his team at Orchestrate. It was well known. It was always going to be a battle between Toaster and Dunstall Park, and I think it divided opinion plenty, certainly on social media. Um, I nailed my flag to the mast pretty early. I'm a big fan of it being at Toaster. Um, Phil, I know you had strong opinions on it, and where did you lie?
Yeah, I made no secrets that I think it should have stayed at Toaster. Lots of reasons. I just think what they put together last year, the whole team, Kevin and Ben, was something that I know I haven't been in the sport for that long, but was something that I'd certainly never felt in the sport before, and I think they deserve the chance to kick that on. It was just the best experience I've been around for certain, and what they put together for the dogs, the racing, the form, it stood up. We ended up with the best dogs getting through to the final, and it's done that consistently. And the venue itself got smartened up. Everything behind the scenes for the trainers, just everything got put together, and that's why I supported it now. Dunstall have come in and they've put a track up, and I understand they've put a lot into it. And again, I've made no secrets. I think they missed a chance really with what they've designed. I know why they've done it, and I understand the idea of them doing it to minimise the speed going into the bends and to minimise sharp bends. I completely get that, but I think what you've actually done is designed the fastest 480 in the country, and a lot of the stats when it comes to injuries say the faster tracks ultimately create more injuries. Now there's talk that things might be changed, that traps might be moved, and I think the Oaks was quite a good showcase of it, that it very much needed that early pace. A lot of the strong runners seem to fly down the back, come around the third, fourth bends, and just didn't quite have the run in to pick them up. So it just didn't seem to have that fairness to it. They were a great competition, don't get me wrong, but is it a derby track? Not for me, not yet. They might have different plans going forward, and we'll see what happens in 2027. But overall, I'm thrilled that it's at Toaster again.
Charlie?
Yeah, I agree. I think when you look back at probably the last 3 or 4 derbies, I think it's been predominantly when you go through every single round, first, second round, all the way up to the final, you've seen early paces when you've seen dogs come from off the pace. Majority of the last final winners have all been stronger runners. Delardi-Dar, Droopy's Plunge, Gaytime Nemo. So, and every time you look at the field in the final, it's not dominated by one style of running in a dog. And I just think every single dog gets their chance at Toaster. I think it's not too hard of a 500 metre if you're a front runner. I think there's dogs there that wouldn't get, say, the 500 at Nottingham or at Hove, but can go to Toaster and can win and can put up a good time. And like Phil said, it's just with Dunstall Park, it is just that it's a real quick 480. And I think eventually we're going to see dogs do 2740s around Dunstall Park, and it's just going to make it really difficult. Say, for example, Patrick Janssen, I think he'd need a whole new kennel, essentially, if he was going in the derby at Dunstall Park this year. So that's not me, because I actually really like Dunstall Park. I think the facilities are top class. I think the staff there are brilliant. When we were there the other week, I thought everything run like clockwork, and it's such a professional setup. I just think derby-wise, I think the best result it could be right now is being at Toaster. So yeah, I'm happy to staying at Toaster personally.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily anything Dunstall have done wrong with the track. I mean, you watch it and the dogs run the bends. They run the bends lovely.
Mhm.
It's a track where you have no problem taking a good dog for a competition. It's just it's not a derby track. Every track has its idiosyncrasies, if you like. Nobody would want to see Romford go, but Romford's not a derby track. And Dunstall's a little bit like that. Nobody would want to see it go. Now it's there. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. But in terms of a derby track, does it tick as many boxes as Toaster? I don't think it does. And I think that's probably the bigger issue. I mean, I know Phil, you mentioned your bitch in the Oaks. She's probably at best over 500 these days anyway. But I'm sure, given the opportunity, you would have swapped her seed into rails halfway through if you could, because you felt that it would have been a massive advantage drawn on the rails.
Yeah, yeah. I'll put it on Twitter. I think I
Mm,
said, "Can I change my seeding now?" It's
yeah,
yeah. I just thought it were a huge advantage, and I mean, she didn't show her best in the final. Don't get me wrong, but to get there, I it just I just don't think it was the fairest across the board for all types of dogs, and that's ultimately what we want to see. That's kind of
yeah,
and
I do think. Go on.
people have gone
Sorry,
out
Phil.
and bought people have gone out and got dogs for competitions as such, and to kind of see you needed a different type of dog. That's kind of where you want to be. And like you say, I mean, Keely does a lot of the open racing. She came home absolutely raving about the place, the facilities, the track, just everything. And the guys in the office, the communication with us as well, things like that, it was second to none. So I can't knock them on anything. I don't think it's a derby track. That's where I stand.
Yeah, I just think as well, like obviously putting a more positive spin on things when it like going forward with Dunstall Park. I think now, obviously, with the competitions that they're going to have there, we'll talk about horses for courses and things like that. When you're buying a bitch now going forward, you'd be looking right. This is the type of bitch we need, or you've got the Laurels there, or the Birmingham Cup, or whatever. So the positives are there going forward that you can now buy the right type of dog for Dunstall Park. But yeah, I just similar to what you just said there, for the way that you enter your dogs and then you end up get a WhatsApp with the full race card telling you what time kennel is. Little things like that go a long way for trainers, I think. So just really impressed with the whole place, the facilities, the track itself. But yeah, the main thing is there when it comes to having a derby, it's a no brainer for me that it's got to be a Toaster.
yeah. I think your Derby dogs of now wouldn't be your Derby dogs for there, would they? They'd be completely different. And I mean, we just said there about, oh, if you could swap your seed into a Rayleigh, you would. And then I think Butler's Lane was actually seeded middle for the
Yeah.
so she won it as a middle. So what do we know? The first category one that was run around there was by a middle seed. But when you look at her 500-meter form, which obviously the Derby trip, I think the last time she won over 500 meters was in an A1 at Nottingham. But over the 480 at Dunstall, she's an Oaks winner. So
Mhm.
that's the difference between the type of dogs that you need for Dunstall Park. Over 500 meters, she's an A1 winner. Over 480 meters, Dunstall, she's an Oaks winner. And she won it on merit. There
Oh,
was dogs turned
100%.
behind her that she ran a brilliant race that night. But the difference in dog that you would need for Toaster and Dunstall, you wouldn't take a toaster dog to Dunstall because it's a completely different track. But you would still take great dogs there that suit the distance because it's a great track, it's well run, and they deserve all the support. And that's where I lie with it as well. So
I'm fascinated to see what they do at Toaster, what they're going to bring in 2026 as well. It's that there's
yeah,
lots of talk of things being sorted at the track, things being changed a little bit, and we all saw what they did in such a short space of time last year for everything behind the scenes, and there's a lot of people sat at home that don't see that, and there was a hell of a lot that went in to make things better for dogs, better for trainers, just the whole setup was better, and
a lot of it is short notice as well.
yeah, yeah, and there's plenty that can be changed, plenty that can be changed. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. What about? I mean, this has been raised a few times on social media. I've seen it, and I know I forget his name. It was the MD, I think, of Dunstall. They discussed moving the traps back to 500 meters to potentially host next year's derby, and I think it's sort of well known across the industry they put up more money than what Toaster did. for this derby this year. So the GBGB and the panel didn't just go on prize money; they went on what they thought for this year. I think the fact that they only gave it to Toaster for 1 year speaks volumes. I think that was their way of saying, look, you've got it this year, Toaster. Next year you need to up it a little bit in terms of prize money. I think that was their way of saying it. We obviously hope, because we want the derby there, that Toaster do that. If they don't, and Dunstall come back with that offer next year and they move the traps back to a 500-meter start, does that solve all of the Dunstall problems?
No, because it's still a tight track and it's still going to be very hard to pass. I think it's looking at the track. Obviously, when you're standing there in the stands, it's very hard. You're not going to gain that much from moving the traps back. I just think that's just the way the track is. Obviously, it would help. I think it would help in terms of if there's dogs there going to the corner. Realistically, you want your stayers sort of sorting themselves out and things like that. But essentially, as well, it's just giving the early pace dogs even more of an advantage, because if they're missing their break, they've got an extra 20 meters to pace up. That's what it is. That's what I've always felt with the, say, for example, the Hove 500 to 515. A lot of people run a dog over 500 meters and he's strong over it. So they go, oh, he'll be a good dog. We'll put him over the 515. A lot of the time you find you're only giving the early pacers another 15 meters to the bend and you're letting them make up for their mistakes going to the corner. That's my opinion on that. I think if there was ways to move winning lines, I think that would almost be better. Move a winning line, so you can gain your distance there. But I don't know how possible that is at Dunstall personally.
And that would be my the way that I'd do it. I'd move the winning line if I was doing it. I think if you move the traps, you've straight away taken away what they were aiming for. So if you go back 20 yards, 20 meters, you've increased it 2 seconds. That's 2 seconds faster that they're going to go into the first bend. Whole idea is that they were going into the first bend slightly slower, and the bends are sweeping, so they can sort themselves out, drive the bends, and therefore you've got less chance of bad falls. They haven't said that, but for reasoning on a scientific level, that's what I think they've done. Now, if you look at the Australian racing and the chips that they use, a dog's running its fastest around the second, just coming out of the second bend, which is where we tend to see a lot of hocks go. Now, you move it back 2 seconds, all of a sudden a dog's powering out of that second bend and flying, going into the first faster. That it negates everything that they wanted to do. So the only way I think they can achieve it and keep what they wanted is to move the winning line. And therefore the strong runners would then have time, like we saw in the Oaks. The Belinda bitch, there was numerous times, and Patrick's bitch, I thought it was coming to win, just didn't have time to get up once it had changed its legs off the last. So, but again, you'd have to see if it works. It just takes time bedding in. I think they were hoping a lot to launch the Oaks and then have a Derby challenge. Like it was, you were going to have a lot of faith that they were going to sort something out. Now, yeah, it's surely Toasters to lose now. You can't.
100%.
Do you not think then that the longer run up would actually spread the dogs out to the bend? I mean, I know we sort of spoke about it in the kennel on break, and I think Mark felt it was a slightly shorter run to the bend, and the longer run to the bend would help. But
this is every dogman's view. Unfortunately, I don't. And again, I'm speaking on what I think is their reasoning. I don't think it's the people that are sat at a desk looking at statistics view, and that's the difference. What they want, they don't understand the speed and time for dogs to sort themselves out. They've looked at the statistics of Toaster and Sheffield and gone, actually, there's less fallers at those tracks. So wider bends, slightly shorter run-ups. That it's not about them having time to sort themselves out. The wides will drift out a little bit wider, and ultimately they'll be going around the bend slower. So if they're going around the bend slower and less sharp, you then get less impact injuries, and that's why they've done it. It's not. That's the big difference between the scientific reasoning and the dogman side of it, who looks at it and goes, "We want a long run up, so dogs have got time to sort themselves out." I don't think they see it like that.
yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I've seen enough of enough of Yarmouth that's probably one of the longest run-ups in the country, and our dogs all separated there by the time they get to the first bend. Does it completely eliminate dogs bumping each other at the first bend? It doesn't. So I mean, I'm not convinced it would
You
do a
look at
great deal.
you look at the queue in Australia. I think it's almost perfectly round. A couple of the views I've seen of that, there's hardly any straight. So I just think Dunstall just needs time to bed in. Give it time
Yeah,
to bed in, see what they can do, see if things change, and go from there. I mean, Toaster, a daft thing that I'd like to see, and they do it in Ireland, is add the actual drop where the dogs stop. I'd shorten that because I think that run round to their Toasters just
yeah.
it's just brutal around there. I'd find a way of bringing that. In Ireland, they stop them on a bend, so here we'd say we won't want it, but I still think that should be shortened. So
You stop that on that bend, Phil. That's a hell of a long run to that bend. I'll just do the parades for the sprints and the stayers. Right, should we address probably should we say negative of the week? Should we there was a lot of drama around the puppy derby and will it, won't it? Disappointing. I think disappointing obviously for us as a kennel, if I'm speaking from a personal point of view. We had a nice little bitch strike at Sky lined up for that and the Puppy Oaks in December. That was sort of her main targets, despite the racing she's had this year. And obviously, that looks now like that's not going to happen. Her main targets of the year are probably going to go amiss. And if she goes to Oxford for the Puppy Oaks, it's going to be a trip that doesn't suit. And I mean, that's just looking at it from our point of view. There's a lot of other disappointed owners and trainers as well that had plans to go and trial and couldn't. Um, it's just disappointing, isn't it?
just a
Whatever way you
fiasco.
look at it, it's
It's just a
disappointing.
fiasco, isn't it? I mean, there's no other way to say it. Really, it's akin to them not releasing the track dimensions and what was going on at Dunstall when people are buying bitches out of the new bridge to go and win the Oaks. Nobody had a clue. People have bought top level dogs to try and win a puppy derby with plans to set them out. They've done the same with the puppy Oaks, and all of a sudden everything's thrown into disarray. I mean, I just do not understand how it can be allowed to get to this point. It's I run my own business, and everything is communication, and this is the thing that's lacking for me. And we can jump up and down all we want online, but communication of something happening, and all of a sudden you've got two top competitions. One, the trip's been completely changed, so people, like you say, I mean, your bitch would have been one of the top puppy bitches in the country. Oxford ain't going to suit her in the slightest. Puppy derby dogs. I mean, I saw they'll try and run it in 2026. It's just boggles.
It eliminates all them pups that were just in that were 23 and 24 months. You run it in the new year, they're going to be two then. And my personal opinion, I know that got brought up, but I'm not comfortable with dogs running in puppy competitions. I don't want to see a 2-year-old win a puppy competition just because it's been knocked back a few months. That's not for me. Charlie,
It's stupid. Like, do you know what the most annoying part about it is I think what everyone's thinking, if this was mentioned months ago, then you would say, all right, we're trying to adapt and sort it out. But it's the middle of November. We were all up in the air. Like, we've got a bitch there as well who was aimed for it. And I've been talking to the owner for months about it. Like, she come in season, we were talking about, yeah, Puppy Oaks and Puppy Derby. And then you've got these plans, and then you're thinking, oh, we need to get a trial at Toaster. That's all up in the air. And then you get told, oh, yeah, no Puppy Derby, Puppy Oaks is moving. Now, look, I'm fine with it being at Oxford. I'm in a similar boat to you in terms of she would suit Toaster 10 times more than she would Oxford. But that's one thing. It is what it is. But just that lack of, like you say, communication and almost being dealt a hand that you can't do anything with because it's too late. You just got to crack on. And then, like you say about it being run in 2026, well, I'll be out of it automatically. And it's just so lazy and just backwards. It's just mental. But
and people must have known. That's the bit that gets me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what's gone on with the management of both tracks, and I don't really want to get involved in it. But from a governing body point of view, we'll put the calendar out. I'd heard people saying that they couldn't get trials at Toaster and they were worried about it happening. And that must have been 6 weeks ago. Well, they must have known that this was coming. They must have. And it needs a leader and somebody in there who phones people up and goes, what's happening? And then communicates it out to trainers. Now, they have, for me, there's a responsibility to the sport. And that responsibility is, if they're in the calendar, they should be going ahead. It's that simple.
Yeah, I think there was obviously the article in the Racing Post, wasn't there, where Phil Donaldson got both the views or the opinions of Kevin Boothby and Orchestrate. I'm not sure if it was Mike Davis or whether it was somebody else from Orchestrate, but it felt a little bit. And again, we only know what we've read, and contrary to belief, I only know what I read in there. That so we've only got that to go on at the moment, and we've got to say as we talk, it's being reviewed. Supposedly, there was an article after this to say it's been reviewed, and obviously this is being filmed on Tuesday the 18th. So we don't know the outcome of that yet. It may well be that Toaster host it. We don't know, or it may be that it is scrapped. But it felt a little bit like, obviously Kevin owns the rights to it, Kevin Boothby. It mentioned that in there, which is fine. So it almost feels like if he owns the rights to it, it's his responsibility to make sure it's run, which I think is only right. From what the way I read the article, it felt like he originally had plans to move it to Oxford, a little bit like he's done with the Puppy Oaks. Late on in the year, has decided actually that's not viable. I think it's got to stay at Toaster, or I need it to stay at Toaster, whatever that may be. He's left it maybe too late for Orchestrate and the new promotion to pick it up, because it's worth remembering they've not even started yet. They know they're going into Toaster, they know they're taking it over, but they're not even in control of a trial session yet.
Yeah.
So to suddenly have control of a Category 1 competition at late notice, without even being able to actually control the track pre-competition start, I think was asking quite a lot. And I think for the blame to then be put on Orchestrate like it was from quite a few people, it has to be said, I thought was probably a little bit uncalled for, in my opinion. I don't think it was their responsibility to make sure it goes ahead. Everyone would have loved for Orchestrate to go, yeah, no problem, we'll run it. We've got the prize money here. We'll run it from here, no problem. But I look at it and I think, well, if I was going in there and I'm not in control of the track yet, and someone's asked me to take a competition at late notice, and I've not got a sponsor, and I'd probably look and go, look, this ain't for me either. So I think if it was going to be offered to Toaster, a little bit like what Charlie said, it should have been offered months ago. So they had a lot longer to plan than a couple of weeks. That's my view on it anyway.
Yeah. Right. And I'll use this to go into it, but the same's happened with the British Bred Derby. And there's been more people jumping up and down about the Puppy Derby because there's fewer people have the British Breds. Now, the British Bred Derby is a Category 1. It's one of our pinnacles in the sport. Now, it's 10 grand to the winner. Category 1, hosted every year, and we've just lost it. Now, that happened. I found out about that about 5 weeks ago. I made plenty of people aware what was going on. Nothing has got done. Nothing. And I made sure that the people at the top knew about it. People on committees knew about it. And it's just lost. And I messaged the Racing Post and said, can something be done? And the article was put out the other day. Now, we've laid dogs off for that, to get them ready for it, because we won it last year. And Patrick had gone in favourite, no doubt. But there's plenty of British bred dogs that it's their chance to shine. And we've just had that taken away from us. And there's nobody going to do anything about it. And it just can't be, it can't go on. There's somebody at the GBGB that has to take control and has to say, if they're in the calendar, then they're happening. Now, I can also say we're 6 weeks away, 6 or 7 weeks away of the first Category 1s of 2027 happening. We ain't even got a calendar yet.
No.
So if you've got a puppy for the British Bred, a 575 dog for Romford, the Toaster competition normally happens. There's 4 Cat 1s that normally start on that same weekend. We haven't even got a calendar.
Mm.
So
And it was out. It was out at this point last year because I have a screenshot of it so I can work through the list of competitions and where we're at in the year and work out when they start on my phone. And I think I saved a screenshot from near beginning of November of last year for this year's calendar. So it was out by
yeah,
this point last year. So we are later than
we
expected.
just need a bit of leadership. That's all. A bit of leadership. Somebody to take control of them. If they're in there, they're happening. It almost takes it out of Boothby and the management at Toaster's hands, doesn't it? If somebody
Mm.
sat there saying, "Look, this is here. We're making the decision. You've signed a bit of paper. Therefore, it's got to happen." Instead of
Yeah.
leaving it up to people to make decisions, it's just shouldn't be allowed.
Mm. And on that British bred derby, obviously, if it's been cancelled this year, the prize money that was allocated for this year, will it go on to next year, do you think? Or will it just
Not a
be
chance.
this is uh, what's that
Not a
money going to be
chance.
used for?
Not a chance.
You want to
And
see it used, and I'm not saying it's not going to be because it could be that could come to light, but it'd be nice to see it at least used for something
yeah,
for the British breeders so they don't
and
end up.
there was a British bred breeders, not breeders stakes, British bred trophy category two, category three grand competition supposed to be in November. Toaster. Now Scott Harvey contacted me and said it won't happen then. It'll move to December. So, and it went straight in the calendar. It moved to December. So again, it's communication. Now, there was back and forth as to whether it was going to clash with the British bred derby. Now everybody clearly knew it just weren't going to happen. So yeah, yeah, it's just sad.
It is. On a far more positive note, chaps, there was a great story this week, I thought, regarding Harley Jolly, kennel hand to Simon Deacon. I think it's his sister is Simon's partner, and he lived down in Cornwall, and they lost both their parents. And I think the way it read in the article is sort of obviously hit him hard, as you'd expect anybody to get hit hard when they lose their parents. But he's really found a new lease of life after winning gold in, I think it was boccia or something like that in the Special Olympics. He got a gold medal, so he now finds himself in graham racing, and I think it's a great story that graham racing is a great sport. It's a great sport for anybody, and I think it said he's already paraded something like over a dozen winners at Dunstall, and I just thought it was really nice. And there was a picture of him there with the dog and a trophy, and he looked proud as punch. And for someone obviously, you know, given the illness and the life he's led so far, albeit a great life by the sounds of it, gold medalist in a Special Olympics to adapt like that. I thought it was just brilliant, and it was a nice heartwarming story. And hopefully one day I get to bump into him and meet him at a track somewhere because I thought it was brilliant. And we are an inclusive sport, aren't we?
I just think when you read the story and you read what he's gone through to obviously winning a gold medal and now doing something that he enjoys, I just think it's what a guy. Because I've seen a few clips of him, photos of him on social media anyway. I think his name is Bernard Rogers, kennel hand for Simon
Yeah,
Deacon, owner as well, and he's always posting photos of him. He's always smiling, he's always happy. I just think, someone like that is someone that should be definitely shown off because he's a real positive guy, and it's a great story.
yeah, definitely.
100%. And the fact that all the press outlets have picked it up and covered it is great, and it does good on the kennel really for being so inclusive and giving people chances to come into it, because it is an inclusive sport. I mean, the amount of people that might need a hand at the pickup, and people will always help each other out, and,
Yeah, absolutely.
and anybody coming into it can get a chance. It's great for that.
Yeah, and Simon will have if he's enjoying it that much, Simon will have to watch out. He'll be taken over one day. He'll be coming in. He'll get involved. It happens, and suddenly he'll start having his own ideas, and the license will be in his name before he knows it. Um, no, I thought that was a great story, and hopefully, they do a bit of open race, they do a bit of travel. I know Bernard, speak to Bernard fairly regular, and he's a real positive bloke. He loves his dogs, and he looks after them well, and he likes his open race dogs and what have you. So there's hopefully he'll get about a bit and experience plenty of other tracks. That'd be nice for him. And like I said, it'd be nice to meet him one day. I've not met him yet, but I'm sure one day we'll we'll meet. And yeah, just a nice story. I thought it was a nice story.
I think
You
we'll
don't get
definitely
many in
meet him
ground racing
eventually
sometimes.
because the amount of dogs that Bernard's been buying.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
got a kennel for, and he seems to be here and there and everywhere. So I'm sure we are going to meet him eventually.
yeah.
So no,
He did message me the other day. He's still on the lookout. He's not finished yet.
he tells me he's done, and then he's not.
No one's ever really done, are they? They've always got one space.
Exactly.
They've always got one space, definitely. And I think on that note of positive stories, and there's another big night Saturday night for certain Droopy's Flair in the Night of Stars. I think she's going for the 686 race or 750 in the Irish money. Um, I think by the sounds of it, I read the interview with Sean. He I think he might have mentioned the prize money, but he also mentioned that both the distances were probably neither ideal. He probably wanted somewhere a little in between. I actually think she'd be fine with either. I mean, he knows her obviously far better than me, but I mean, it's great to see us represented over there again this year, albeit just the one, just the one runner. Um, she'd have a live chance, wouldn't she? I think
She's got
she's
more than a
probably
life
very unlucky.
chance.
She's bumped into Monkey's Wild, but she's a sensational bitch in her own right.
It's unreal.
She is top class. And the thing is, I've got this habit of finding out about good dogs when they beat me in a race. And she beat me at Toaster. And then I remember we took Deadly Disco up to Central Park for the Cesare. She was having his first race and she was in one. And I looked at her, we knew she was a danger, but I thought, oh, we'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously she does what she does and does the clock. And I assume, that Sean's had issues with her after that Cesarewitch final and things, and the way she's come back to racing. I thought she ran great at Nottingham in the St Ledger because she beat you in the semi, didn't she? Was she in against Monkeys in the
Yeah,
semi?
she did. Yeah,
And then
yeah,
obviously
she was. Yeah.
he ran a stormer in the final. They both did. Yeah, live chance. All you want is an English dog to go over there and win. So wishing the best of luck.
Ah, she's a phenomenal bitch, isn't she? I mean, she was bought out of the Doncaster sales, and a few people had told me that this litter was one to watch. Somebody had messaged me and said there were two worldies in it. One turned out to be Droopy's Kathleen, and I kept an eye out for her. And first look at Doncaster over at 483 trip, and it ain't an easy trip that, especially not for a pup. And she flew, and they pay good money for her. The owner John Stubbins is a really really good supporter of the sport. Got some great dogs. Loves his Droopy's dogs, and I remember talking to Sean afterwards and saying, "I think you've got a special one." And then he took her away, did a bit of racing, brought her back for a trial to Donny, and she's just so balanced. You watch her, and she is just poetry in motion when she's running, just poetry. And they had the issues, they had a niggle, and I spoke to Sean before that, and he was so certain in what he was doing treatment wise, and had a plan. And I know they've been up to Davies Kennel and used some bits and bobs up there, and he's brought her back, and they've got him absolutely flying. And him and his partner, they're just living every minute. And he rang me about a week ago and just wanted to talk through the logistics of, because we went to trial with Maverick, and I talked him through logistics of going over and what we did. He messaged me on Saturday morning, and when he was booked in for a trial before, and said he was waiting for the ferry. It was supposed to be on the 8:30 ferry over, and it'd been delayed 5 hours. He then messaged me again and said they booked on another ferry, and they were hoping to make it. Now, they didn't make it to trial before racing, so hung around. So I reckon they were probably left the house, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and she's been in the van that long. And then she's trialled after racing, did a 41.63. He come straight back and went straight to Sheffield. So, but as I said to him on the phone, it's the experiences. Now, if you've got a dog like this, we're in it for experiences. And Night of Stars is one of the biggest nights of the year. So to have a lively chance going into there, why not? Why not go for it? And him and Becky and John, the owner, I just wish them all the luck, because they just love their racing. And yeah, they're going for it.
was a good trial as well, wasn't it? It was by no means a bad trial. Considering everything that went on as well. I mean, I would expect them to find a bundle for that. I mean, we had first class experience this year of actually how hard it is to run Shelbourne Park. It's not easy. Not all dogs take to it. Not all dogs take to it first time or second time, but she is just class, and you do have that feeling that whatever race she goes into, certainly Sean will feel it doesn't really matter what's going to go in that race on Saturday night. Sean is going to feel he has the best dog in the race. And that's a wonderful feeling when you go behind the boxes and you've got that. And, before the cards even out, I don't care what's in it. I have the best dog in the race. And I think he does. I do think she's brilliant. And I hope she takes a flyer. I hope she nips around that bend in front. And I hope what English are there absolutely roar home, because I'd be delighted for Sean and everybody involved with her, because she did bump into Monge's Wild at Nottingham. Um, I know how good he is. He's very, very special. I probably won't handle a faster one in a long, long time. And you have to say, without him being there, she'd have been a very, very good St. Ledger winner. As it turned out, she was a very, very good St. Ledger runner-up. But take nothing away from her, she was good enough to beat him that night, and she is good enough to beat him. And she's the only dog I would worry about ever in a race with Monge's Wild in. You look and you go, she can beat him because she is that good. So
Liam,
I hope
do you remember when Deadly Disco beat Monge's Wild that time? You haven't avenged
I
that
do.
loss. You haven't avenged
I
that
do.
loss yet.
I do. I'm sure the time will come, but you keep entering in a 500 at home every Saturday,
Well,
so let's not
you
worry
win
about
because
that.
we know the problem is
Let's not.
you're showing your hand too much when you keep trialing him around these tracks. You know what I mean? Like we sort of understand where Monge's Wild is going. I think that's predominantly with now people that have these dogs over 700 plus. They're playing a game
Yeah,
of where's Monge's Wild going to be. So you're trying to do whatever you can to avoid them. But no, what you just said there about she's sort of the only
that was just
one.
waffle. That was just waffle for bottled it, by the way. But carry on.
But I've bought it.
Carry on. Carry
Look,
on.
listen, right, look, let me just say something here, right? This is all I'm going to say is I'm still 1-0 against
Yeah,
Monge's Wild. So he could be the best ever. He could be Ballyregan Bob 2.0. But when you go on the racing post, I'll just go on it now, and you go, through the form guide and it says third and the dog that won the race, that will forever be there. So I don't need to bottle anything.
I remember you texting me saying, "I hope this dog never loses again because this is Deadly Disco's legacy."
What
Right,
what
let's move on that
what a
note.
litter Flair is out of, can I just say? Toolmaker
Yeah,
Giselle,
not bad. Eh?
Droopy's Kathleen, Flair, like this Droopy's Smiley. I think she was retired to have pups. I mean, that is, and I think it looks like there's a special one out of the next litter that's just started in the unraced in Ireland. And I've got a funny feeling, is it that one that's owned by the three tall men who had plunge?
Oh, is it right? Yeah.
I think so. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is.
You
It's
were
Yeah,
over at the
there's
Droopies recently, Phil, weren't you? Tell us about
yeah. So we had a rare weekend away and shot over to Ireland, and I had Keely and Jeff Barnaby's kennel at 7 o'clock in the morning on our weekend off. But we went to see one of his dogs that we bred that Jeff's got run, and he's just bred a litter out of one of a bitch that we bred to Edition, and we're having a couple of those pups, and we took the chance to go down to the Dumfries and see the boy Edition, see how he's getting on. Just blows away, really. It's I could go on all day. I mean, they were so hospitable. Michael gave us the tour, and just it was basically access all areas. They shared a lot with us. The thing that me and Keely were blown away with is how much they asked us, about like how our methods, what we do, bits and bobs, bouncing ideas. And I would say the thing that, after sitting down with Sean and Patsy and chatting to Michael, the thing that blew us both away is their want to improve all the time. Now you look at what they've set up, what they've bred, the stud dogs they've got, everything is looking at constantly improving. They've just built a new gallop there, basically to take pups. I think they said it's something like 1,000 yards, take them down through. They've had the surface off of Ballydoyle. and just to take pups, not to blast them, but just to give them a gentle spin out, and just everything seemed to be, all the questions that they asked was almost to build on their knowledge of, are we missing anything? Is there anything here? And I mean, the dogs were immaculate, but the attention to detail. And me and Keely came out, like, write some note. We're almost late for the ferry. Write some notes down. Have we missed anything? Have we both seen the same thing? Is there anything we can do different? And pick it all up and go from there. And yeah, just out of this world, really. The setup and the knowledge that they have.
You been, Charlie? You been to the Droopy Stud?
Never been. It's definitely on the agenda. I think hopefully as well, potentially with the plans that we've got going forward for this little thing that we're doing here, there could potentially be a visit there in the future. So it would be good for sure.
Aoife's the one on social media thing. Aoife, if you're watching, Charlie wants to come. And he wants to film as well.
Yeah, I've brought
and Phil will probably come as well, just so he can take part.
Just a quick plug to myself there.
Their stud dog kennel. They walk up that line of the stud dog kennel, and honestly, they're just blasting names off to you, and you're just like, oh my lord, like dog after dog after superstar after superstar. It's like, this is a youngster coming through. This is the next one. This is it's just unbelievable, and it's just that set process of what they have, and the attention to the feeding and just everything was out of this world.
Because obviously you've got
the topic, Liam, quickly of the Dumfries. This is my quick shout out to a dog. I'm just going to call it now. The next dog to challenge Mongeys Wild has been running at Hove for the last couple of weeks, and he is a Droopy's dog. That's why it ties in quite nicely. He's called Droopy's Rated. Paul Young trains him. He's a repeat mate in a Droopy's Clue. Everyone who's listening to this, if you're still listening this far, if we haven't bored you to death already, keep this dog on your side, because he will be an absolute superstar over sixpence. If go back and watch his runs at Hove, he's only had 2 races. He's won one, comes second, I think, in the other one in a puppy race. 10 clear into the pickup every time, not stopping. So repeat mate into Droopy's Clue there, Droopy's Rated. A little shout out to them.
Teddy Price and the Maiden gone in it. I love him. Absolutely love him, won't they? That's that price gone. It was 6-4. You're now getting 4-7. Absolutely. Actually, Charlie's tipping that you might get 2-1.
At 4-7, he'll still be good.
Phil, Droopy's edition, he's out there. Is he yours?
Yeah.
Do you own him? You own him?
Yeah. So,
what was the theory behind it?
My obsession with breeding lines.
I was going to say luck then. I was going to say great story. Just luck, just fancied it before I take a punt.
There's a couple of dogs, or bitches actually. So Little Diamond, I wanted to double. I had a bitch in the kennel that I really wanted to double up, Little Diamond, and I have a slight obsession about Hilda, Droopy's Hilda, which most people know about. I just think if you look at so many lines out of Hilda, it throws left, right, and centre. It throws through dogs, it throws through bitches, and it is continuing to throw on. And I was looking for a dog to use. The bitch had missed previously and didn't want to send her to Ireland. And I made contact because he'd retired. And we picked him up. So we picked him up and said, we'll go and give him a chance at stud. The bitch I actually got him for missed. She never had pups. And I put him to Atalanta and got Maverick and Goose, and then put him to Now Then Bella. So I took a right chance. I put 2 top broods, pretty proven broods, to an unproven stud dog. And we got Rocky and a dog called Chase, holding Harry's out of that litter as well. And there's a bitch up in northeast, Now Then Belarus, Now Then Keithville was one of fair few. So straight away we knew he was throwing. We had a few people send bitches to him, and logistically, I mean, you guys know how busy I am, and Keely, what we've got on at home with the young family, we just couldn't feasibly do it. It was just too much. The rules in the UK around artificial insemination, things like that, it was just too much. So I had a few guys in Ireland message me and asked me about straws, and Jeff contacted the Dumfries for me, and Sean rang me and he said, we'll take a chance. He said, we'll stand in for you. And and they're just coming through. There's a bitch on Hove, I think, and Central Park that are the first ones. Exotic Princess. She looks like she's going to be decent. She's just running green, and they're a winner. Droopy's top notch. One at Central Park. That looks like a real nice prospect. So they're the first ones coming through from Ireland, from the Dumfries, and he's had a fair few bitches. So the next
I
little
hear there's an exciting curio pup, isn't there?
so the chat is there's I mean, I won't
Yeah.
lie, when they said they put him to Curio, I almost fell over. What's the chances of getting that for an up and coming stud dog? So yeah, the rumor is that there's a couple of good ones, and hopefully he carries on throwing them. He throws awesome chase. That's the one thing he throws, an early pace. So it's and then we've got a repeat mate into Now then Bella, that I'm just starting, and they look pretty handy. And then there's a bitch to Key Phil Pepper that a certain person owns on the podcast as well. So he's hoping she suits
Yeah.
Dunstall Park for the Oak.
She'll suit Dunstall. She's got no choice. She's got to. Right, let's move on. Should we do some race reviews?
Yes,
Right, come
100%.
on. Let's
Well,
preview this classic final at Sunderland. Where are we at with it? I think it's been quite a good little competition. A bit of a shock last week with that semi-final. I know, Phil, this is not going to be your strong point, is it? This was the part of the show that you wasn't looking forward to so much because you're always out sleeping in your van working, so you don't get to see as much racing. You get to see your own, and then you're limited, your replays and everything else. But Charlie, what your thoughts of that Sunderland competition? The final first. I can't remember the track draw off the top of my head. I should have had it ready. It's
I've got it in
awful
front
me.
of me here,
Yeah.
so don't worry.
It's 'cause
This is as
you
soon as
know,
you said let's talk
head of
about racing,
head of the
my
operation.
eyes absolutely lit up.
Head of the operation.
But yeah, final of the Sunderland Classic, unanimous Leon in 1, Bocco's Buster 2, Droopy Salt in 3, White Hills Titan in 4, Santa's Amigo 5, Call of Annie Mercy 6. Yeah, like you said, a couple shocks in the semi-final. Obviously, Romeo Still and Slingshot Poppy just got in each other's way. Look, they were so close in the betting all the way through. I was watching the betting before the race. I think it just went Romeo Still's way before the race, and then yeah, she sort of trapped in front of him. I still think Romeo Still over 4 bends for raw speed is probably the best dog to the corner. So you knew he was going to be pacing up, and then it was just they just got in a slog fight after that, trying to hit the front, and it opened things up for Call of Annie Mercy unanimously on to land a ridiculous forecast. I don't think anyone in the world was on it, but either
The
way, it
TriCast was
come in.
something like £1,400. I think the TriCast was. It was ridiculous.
That's what I mean. Just yeah, because then you've got Call of Annie Mercy 33s unanimously and 11s, Mad About Perk 18s. So yeah, that was that with that, and then
I'll be
Bocco's
interested
Buster
to see
run
if they
well.
put a rail seed on her, because I slowed that down, and she was trying to come across him the whole way around. So
Is that Poppy?
yeah, Poppy. Somebody messaged me straight after it, and I slowed the race down to have it in slow mo to see what actually happened. The whole way around, she was trying to get in the rail in front of him, and he just couldn't get free. And I mean, I've run against him enough times. He is just a beast when he lets rip. I mean, he made Goose look silly, and Goose has got some early. So
100%.
they got in the way. I mean, and then for those two to come through unanimously on when he's second in the final last year.
I mean, obviously, I know she's out now, so we won't go into it too much. But I think the Slingshot Poppy bitch is very, very good. I think she's very, very fast. I know trials are for show and races are for the dough, but I think she put up the most impressive trial I've ever seen at
Oh,
Newcastle
when she come out of the
a few weeks
boxes.
back.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I know connections. I wish it was a race that she does that, and quite often she has done. But it was something. Was it something like 16:40 or something ridiculous? Like it was just so freakishly good. I said, I can't be right. And then I watched the video and I was convinced like it skipped a bit because
I
she
know.
came out. Yeah, you took 10 minutes. She's gone. Like it was incredible. I mean, it was just a shame probably for connections that it was a trial, but she is so fast when she puts it right. I mean, it's a shame she couldn't take her place in the Oaks because I know it's 480 and that it was stretched, but as we discussed earlier in the show, uh, she'd be fine around there over that trip, and she's very exciting going forward. But we've got to stop talking about dogs that aren't in it. Charlie, continue with dogs that are.
Yeah, back to the final. Yeah, Bocco's Buster 2, Droopy Salt 3, Droopy Salt run well behind Santa's Amigo. Um, I watched the race. Obviously, Suleika Sen and very fast dog seemed to have picked up an injury, so hopefully he'll be okay. I'm sure Pete will give him every chance to come back again. I actually think Bocco's Buster. Looking at the race just to the eye and what we saw the other day, I think Bocco's Buster's got a massive chance of winning it. I think you'd probably like to see him win it for Booney. Santa's Amigo ran really well last time out. I didn't think he would have enough speed to clear the inside last time. I thought he was actually, I didn't make him favourite, but showed real good speed, seems to like the track. So he's definitely a runner. But I just think, knowing what we know of Bocco's Buster, the dogs that he's gone to the corner with at Yarmouth and at Dunstall Park in the Scurry, I think with Unanimous Leon in 1 and Droopy Salt in 3, I think he's got every chance of making the bend in front. I think if he leads, he'll win. Very pacey dog, so could be one for Booney.
Yeah, I think so. I spoke to Kevin. I speak to Kevin regularly. He's on the phone, and I think it'd be nice to him. He actually did an interview today, and it's been well documented before that. But his health's not in the best shape. He's gone from, when I worked there a good few years back now. God, we had sort of 18 dogs at that time, and now he's down to 4, 5 at most. And he's doing what he can, and to get that category one winner, just that one more for him. If I say one more, there could be more. He's a fast dog, but just to get one more at least for him, with that he would love that. I know he would, and it would give him that buzz. And I know he did have to ask permission of the wife to go to the final because he's actually on holiday. He's got to come back a couple of days early, I think, to get the dog ready and go. But yeah, Kevin says he's come out the race. He's come out the race fine. He uses George Drake, and he gave him all bar the okay. So yeah, I think he's happy. And I look at the race, I look at the competition. I don't think he's trapped yet. I think it's coming, and I think it would be typical of Kevin. He's done it before to get him out in a final. Um, if he leads, I think he wins. But you could probably say that about a few of them in there. The Droopy Sort Dog in his trials, he came out really well. His sectionals were good, and in the 2 races, his sectionals aren't anything to shout about. But if he found his trial sectional, he'd be a big runner because he's staying the trip well.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think that's the only way it can sort of be awkward for Bocco's Buster is Unanimous Leon's a trappy dog as well, and obviously Droopy Salt can be trappy seeing from the trials, but I just think for raw speed into the bend, I just think Bocco's Buster's a level above them. I think he's probably a length up on Santa's Amigo into the corner, but
mm,
Santa's Amigo would be very strong over the 450. He's a pacey dog, so it'd be interesting if Santa's Amigo turned behind Bocco's Buster because obviously 450 sort of what Bocco's Buster wants in terms of distance. That's sort of his max, isn't it? Like, I think even
yeah,
480 is probably a bit too much for him. But yeah, good final. It'll be interesting. It'd be interesting to see who wins.
Santa's Amigo is just one of them dogs for me. It has all the pace in the world. I think, didn't it break a schooling trial? A schooling
I
track
think so.
record at 12-month-old. It was put on Twitter, weren't it? And the
Mm,
dog absolutely flew. And he seems to have like one-off unreal runs, but just can't quite put it together in a string. And
I
I
think
mean,
he'd had a break before this as well, so maybe there was something that they just wanted to get right with
yeah,
him. But he's in a category one final, so they're doing
on
well. I
raw
think Ryan
pace,
McGill was the breeder.
fine. And then the Bocos Buster out of Ballymac Ariel. I mean, it's some breeding, same litter as Elusive No More, I believe. So
Mm,
you've got 2 of them in together, 2 of them in Cat 1 finals. And Ariel was a serious bitch. And then
mm.
obviously Ryan with the White Elf
Yeah,
Titan. Is this his first Cat 1?
I think it could be. I think it could be. I don't know if it's the first final he's been in. I'm not sure on that, but I would take a guess it'd be the first one that he's won. He didn't long take the license over from Bill Finley, I think it was had the license before him.
And
Um,
Colourbanny Mercy turns 4 next month.
oh,
She's,
wouldn't it be nice if she
oh,
won? I mean, wouldn't it be nice? I mean, Angela, bless her, she's obviously not had the greatest year losing Jimmy. That was That was really sad. Was it this year? Was it this year? Was it
Yeah,
last year? Jimmy
last year.
passed. Jimmy
this year.
passed this year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
he
Mercy, I
was.
feel like Mercy, we've been talking about her for about 4 years. I feel like she's been.
That's
I
what I
know.
was going to say. It feels like 4 is too
Yeah,
young. It feels like she's been
I
around
know.
I
forever
know.
and ever and
I
ever. And
look,
I remember, was she in the Puppy Cup final at Romford? That's going back a couple of years ago. I'm convinced she was. I need to make sure I've got this right if I go
I
back and look
looked up
up.
her age because I thought she must have been 4.5 or something. She feels like she's
Yeah,
been around forever.
she's been brilliant, hasn't she?
Yeah, yeah, unreal. But
Constantly at the top level.
yeah, yeah.
Constantly. I think sometimes, yeah, I do think sometimes the Northern Dogs they get a little bit forgotten because they're up there and they do their own thing, and sometimes they don't always travel down here, so we do forget about them. But wow, she's been brilliant. She has really been brilliant, and like I said, it would be lovely. Be a lovely way to round out what's been a terrible year for Angela and the whole team there. And I know Ian, they call him the local hero, Ian. They tell me at the track it'd be great for him. And Hannah was saying the other day he's paraded 4 Derby winners. I think it says when he was with Charlie, 4 Derby winners.
It's not bad, is
Jesus.
it?
That's not bad, that is it? For what? Imagine having that feeling 4 times.
I'll be hanging up after one, let me tell you.
Yeah,
That's me
yeah,
at the mic
I'd take
drop
one.
after one.
Yeah, I'd take one. I would take one. I don't think is there anyone we've not mentioned in there?
No, it's a proper final.
Uh,
It's a real,
Yeah.
real good final. And you unanimously on second last year. It's you won't begrudge any of them in here. They're all on the day.
mhm.
Mm. And the other big final, Monday night at Nottingham, the Eclipse.
Big race.
The Eclipse. I feel like we've kind of, from our own kennel's point of view, okay, we've got the two in it with Kilmore Dancer, but needless to say, Proper RS is our best chance. And I feel like we've almost fell on it a little bit. With obviously getting eliminated at Hove, it kind of just fell into his lap a little bit, that entry. He's going to go off favourite for that final. Um, I know he's in trap five. He didn't manage to cheat a trap five draw in Ireland. Um, my heart tells me he'll cheat it this time. I think I don't mind the draw. It's not ideal by any stretch, but he loves Nottingham. And I was actually thinking about it earlier. And with that competition at Hove, as much as he does really enjoy Hove, that shorter run to the bend, the 500 from the 515, probably just caught him out a little bit. If he's got an Achilles heel later now, he's probably not. He's a little bit tardy at the boxes. He's not a. I mean, those days of when he absolutely tore the lids down in the Winter Derby at Munmore, we haven't seen that for a while now. He's almost given dogs a quarter of a length, half a length start sometimes and pacing up. That probably caught him out at Hove, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, but he was probably better suited by the 500 at Nottingham
I
to
don't,
what he
I
actually
don't,
was at Hove.
I don't think he can do that here in this final.
You know,
If he's not sharp at the boxes, I think he's in trouble. I mean, I think the dog's an absolute, and everybody thinks he's a superstar. He is just one special, special dog. But the pain barrier dog, is he going to go around rails? He seems to be running off a little bit. And Jimmy's dog, elusive no more. The dog just seems to hit the front and nothing can go by it. It just,
mm,
I don't know how he does it because the clock's not wow, but nothing seems to come by him. Like
no.
it did similar at Sheffield. He's got unbelievable early, and I just think if Harry ain't quick up, you could be in a bit of trouble.
I can see that. I can see that absolutely. It's
And
been his Achilles heel at Hove.
I thought Kilmore Dancer, another dog that I feel like's been around forever. I thought he ran a blinder last week,
Yeah,
absolute blinder to get that close to him.
he did. Considering Gary the Arbor's jumped out and led, I mean, Gary the Arbor's no back number, especially off the front like that. Yeah, he did. He ran a hell of a race to be second. He did run a hell of a race.
Just looking at the final, like I'm just looking at the odds now, like you're 9-4 on, 5-2 on.
Is he
Like
94 on?
automatically, if you wiped off all the prices and you said who's going to win the race, you're going to obviously I'm going to want to be with Proper Eris. I am his number one fan. I can't tell you when I've been in the middle of the track when he won that Winter Derby final at Monmore. And I stood there and I watched him try around Hove and just look like he's not even running and do 28.60 and then win. I'm in the middle of the track again and I get absolutely battered by him and he does 28.59 or whatever. But automatically, I just think five's the only box he hasn't won out of it. I know he's only run out of it once. It was a bad missed break in that race as well, wasn't it? And Nottingham's just a funny track where if he doesn't lead and he goes around second or third, I think he'll show bundles of speed into the third bend. And you seem to find that Nottingham void at the third bend, don't you? You seem to almost lose 2 or 3 lengths. So that would be my worry. Look, if he comes out level, I think that would be enough because he's so pacey and he's so gutsy as well. He's a proper dog. I think he'll just hit the front and win. But if you're even thinking of playing at them sort of prices, you're playing on him to start. And like Liam, you said, he's got that slight Achilles heel where he does have a bad start in him, and it does cost him sometimes. But yeah, it's a good final. I think it does make it more interesting in being drawn out in 5. I do think Elusive No More's a massive runner. Now he's in red. Thought it ran great in the semi-final. But yeah, they're all you can almost make a shout for all of them. Like Kilmore Dance, like you say, he ran great in the semi-final. He's a gutsy dog. We all know sort of what he's about. He's probably not 100% the full ticket. I don't really want to offend you there, Liam, but you can sort of get where I'm coming from in terms of he's had his moments. I mean, the way he's been running recently, he's been as genuine as you like. Payne Barry is a very fast dog. We see what he done at Dunstall Park, and Droopy's Poker, obviously the outsider of the field, nice bit of speed, probably going to struggle to go with him, but it is a good final. I think he is the class of the race. The big question is, will he be going to the Olympic after this?
Plan, I think it's the plan, and I think he's having a rest. I think was what Mark said in an interview in the paper just a few days ago. I think the plan was the Olympic, and then a rest afterwards. I'm conscious of time because we are ticking. We've got a minute. I want to give Hope some Palumpa mention because I thought he ran brilliant the other night.
Hang on, we're gonna have to edit a bit. He's grown up massively since he was a pup, though, hasn't he? I mean, he used to dive for the rail. And if he were doing that now, he'd be out of it. Esther Driver's dog's the one for me. Hope Some Palumpa. It's a Nottingham dog. It knows the track inside out. I think it's got the early. It's got a cracking little draw. He can deal with the one with Elusive No More. And looking at the odds, you're on a break for Harry, so the 3 would be the one for me.
And then you got obviously Droopy's Poker qualified as well. Best drawn dog in the race. Is he good enough to take advantage of it?
Probably not. I don't know. Probably not. No. Let's be real. If they all run how they should run, like I'm in agreement there. Hopes and Plump's a dog I can never get right. When I fancy him, he seems to sort of fluff it up a little bit. And then when I thought the other day, I watched the race the other day, I thought, out in 5, nah. And then he ran a Stormer. And he's a real pacey dog as well. So he's definitely in with a chance of causing issues. And he's big at the prices, 7-8 to 1. It's massive.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't actually think Droopy's Poker is out of it. I mean, the draw does help him greatly, but he knows Nottingham like the back of his hand now. And just looking like he could just be coming right. He's improved on his trial in the first round. He's improved on his second round run. If all these railers come together, if he was to come out the second bend in front, it would take a monster performance to back run him because he's strong.
Mm-hmm. No,
only just
agreed.
turned 2 as well, hasn't he? Young dog.
Yeah, he's not old. He's in October 23.
Yeah.
Right.
Be interesting.
Lads, we are at the end of the show. Our first ever Chasing Greatness podcast. And now Charlie's got to do all the edit. See how we get on.
And by this point, everyone's already asleep.
I know. Well, look, we've got 5 seconds. So from me, it's goodbye. From Phil, it's goodbye. From Charlie's goodbye. See you in a fortnight. Goodbye.